Hello, and welcome to the Monoxide Podcast. Today we are talking to Derek, aka Nightfall Visuals. He's a car photographer here in Minnesota, and we're also going to be talking about the craziest rally ever.
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 17 of the Monoxide Podcast. Today we are here, first of all, with my co-host, Sean.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean.
Yeah, it feels like we just talked to you guys like a solid 3 minutes ago. Today, this is a part of our doubleheader weekend where basically we are filming two shows here at the Automotorplex in Chanhassen during the Cars and Caves events. So you may hear the SVJ doing its little blap blap in the background. Maybe not, but I kind of hope you do. So that said, I think it's time to introduce our guest, Mr. Derek, aka Nightfall Visuals.
Yeah, hello.
Just rock with a hello.
Yeah, that's the classic. That's what I rock with.
Yeah, people have been doing the hello for years and years. But no, man, I've been wanting to have you on this podcast for about, I don't know, maybe like the last 10 episodes. And I think it's great to have I think you're our first photographer media guy, right? I think so.
Yeah.
I'm almost confident in that.
Besides you, but we never really talk about you.
Yeah, I try. I mean, I rant and rave enough. I don't know. You guys have heard the episodes, but no. So I'm excited to have you on here. You've been my go-to photographer for years on the rallies, just because we've had a good relationship. Back when I started my photography journey, you kind of joined in on a photo shoot, which was the one that got reposted by Dodge back in the day.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was pretty sweet, man. But
My first photo shoot and still one of my favorites.
yep, that red eye photo shoot was sweet. Those guys are super off the radar though, but that was yeah, that was a good one. Well, let's get into you, man. I mean, how did you even start with photography in the first place?
Yeah, so I guess I've just always been into photography. I've always been really into cars as well. I think that's everybody's story that's been on your podcast so far. We grew up with cars, grew up with Gran Turismo.
Yeah, cars plus whatever I'm interested in seems to be a good mix.
Yep. So I've always taken photos of whatever. When I was in the military, I was a Black Hawk mechanic, and helicopters are really cool. So that's another place where I started with some photography. So so that's kind of where I started with photography. And then when I started going to car shows a lot, that's just the natural progression. Started taking photos at car shows, eventually found out that I was halfway decent at it. And that turned into doing these shoots pretty regularly now.
Yeah, a similar story to me too. Like, I just found out by accident that I was half decent at doing photos, and then I started getting good, and people, started paying me, and then
Good's a stretch for you, but
yeah, it's a stretch, but
I'm kidding.
I'm just gonna turn off his microphone. Sean, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, so I saw you post something that said you're not a good photographer.
Oh yeah, you didn't go all the way to the bottom where I said it was satire. So basically, K Fletch, he's one of my favorite photographers down in Fort Lauderdale, I think. And he did this crazy shoot with an Aventador. And then, I just basically put, like, I'm not a good photographer. And then at the bottom, if you hit read more, it says, this is satire. I know I'm good, but holy shit. And I think all of us as creatives kind of feel that way. It's like, sometimes we forget that we are actually pretty good, especially when you consider where you came from. And we'll get into the fun car stuff that you do. But again, I think this is just a great topic for anybody that's coming up, and they can learn from us. Well, we've been doing about 5 years, the two of us, at least in the car community, I think.
Yeah, at least paid for 5 years. Been doing it for a lot longer than that, but yeah, and that's definitely something I think we all struggle with, though, is feeling like we're just not comparable to our peers. And it's really easy to look on Instagram, see these guys that are just incredible, that have been doing it for 15 years plus.
Thank you. No.
And then, just comparing yourself to them, and it's sometimes a struggle, but you got to look at where you came from. Scroll back on your feed, see where you were 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm a lot worse now. I peaked in 2021. No, actually, it's weird, right? Because like you have these ups and downs, again, with any creative or basically any aspect of life. It's up and down. And it's just like, oh man, I really wish for example, I look back at the Noble photos I did with Jeff when we came back from California, and some of them were like insane, but some of them I was like, holy fuck, what were you thinking? Oh my God, you should have saved the RAW for that, you idiot. Like some of those were really deep fried. And I mean, did you go through a phase where you weren't happy with your style, or you started doing like rough styles or anything?
I think every photographer goes through that phase.
Just a phase
You go into Lightroom and you crank that clarity slider. That's just the normal progression for a new photographer. I think everybody does it. So yeah, I've been there.
Just whack out, or like the texture and then sharpen it. Oh man, it's freaking nuts, and it's really rough when you look back sometimes.
Yeah.
No, those are all like options that Instagram provides. So like, what is something that Lightroom actually does that Instagram might not, like have that advanced feature, like the color grading?
Derek, help me. I'm not a technical guy. I just move the pretty sliders.
I think for one, can you even upload a RAW into Instagram?
No.
So then that's one of the biggest things. You're trying to edit a JPEG, and that doesn't work. There's just no data in a JPEG. So that's why if you ever try to edit anything in Instagram, it looks like ass. So that's one of the major factors, I think.
Things like start looking like basically like over pixelated, or the colors are just completely wrong. And when you edit a RAW, and you know, some people may understand this, some maybe not, but basically it gives you just a lot more depth to work with. Same thing applies whether you work with a crop sensor or a full frame. You've seen my arguments on that on Facebook. But there's just so many different things. Like, again, it's a scalpel versus a sledgehammer, like tool wise. Is that a good way to describe it, Derek?
Yeah, and it's not to crap on anyone that uses a crop sensor.
I started
camera
with a crop sensor.
I think we
edited
all did.
JPEGs.
I had a Canon SL2. I don't even know if anybody knows what that is, but some obscure crop sensor camera.
Yeah,
You can get good photos out of it, but it's always a plus to have that full frame.
it's all about the purpose. Like, what are you doing with it, right? So that and I know that there's even a few car enthusiasts just like to get a camera just to dabble with. And honestly, $500 goes pretty far when it comes to like used stuff and all that too. So it's like it's just awesome to do that. But let's talk rallies though, because you have been photographing my rallies forever. I mean, is there any? Let's see. So the first one you did with me was Venom 1, I think, right?
Every one you posted, I've been on.
Yeah, except for Team Stance Out, but that's a throwback.
Well, yeah.
Nobody even knew who the hell I was when we did that. Is there a particular moment in any of the years or all the years, like, or moments that just stick out to you from just having a good time, a blast, whatever?
I mean, Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak? Yeah, your sticker's up there.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Minnesota. I never really traveled a whole lot, so that was my first time seeing any mountain, and that's got to be one of the best experiences on a mountain you can have driving. The first time was in Mo's GTR.
Oh, yeah.
Driving up that mountain in a GTR is just like a dream come true. And then getting to do it a second time is so cool. It's such a good experience.
That was a great year. I mean, that was my second time to Pikes Peak because we scouted it the first time, but there's something to be said when you grow up, you know, in the middle of the plains like we do, and then you go see a mountain and really, like, I don't know about for you, but for me, it made me feel really tiny and insignificant.
Yeah. Well, the largest thing we have around here is what, like,
My ego?
that?
No kidding.
Buck Hill.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any, there's nothing comparable to the mountains in Minnesota. It's insane.
I do know that, like, did you go on 10K Lakes this year or no?
Not this last one, no.
Yeah, some of those roads up north were actually pretty fun. I was bombing through them in Mark's GT500, so that was a good time. But it doesn't compare. I mean, just that level of craziness out there. I mean, those roads are a blast, and then they also don't have a shit ton of potholes like we do too.
Right.
Yeah, so that was pretty sweet. You got up there. Yeah, because you were just riding with Mo the entire time, right?
I believe I was with Carissa and then Mo.
That's right. Was that the year? Yeah, that was the year Carissa was having E85 issues, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They all blend together. I've been on like 8 or 9 rallies now, so
There seems to always be an issue.
yeah, every rally. That's what makes it fun, though. The issues, the problems.
Did you get pulled over on any of the rallies?
Not driving.
Not driving, but who'd you get pulled over with?
Sean here.
Oh yeah, that dude, lumberjack You guys want to share that story at all? Details? Sort of.
It was very uneventful. I mean,
For you.
I stopped to help the Challenger who ran out of gas, but it didn't actually need my help. I was just there providing moral support. And then we got separated from the rest of the group, and then I ended up being the front runner for our little group, trying to catch up with everybody else as we were getting into Duluth. and right in front of us was a cop heading towards us, and my radar went off. I immediately slammed on my brakes. I was probably doing like 90 in a, what was that, probably a 55, those back county roads. And I slam on my brakes. I get down to like 65 in like less than a second. And then cop pulls a Yui, flips the lights on, pulls me over, and is like, I caught you going 90. I'm like, there's no way you caught me doing that, but I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to say I'm guilty of it. I'm just going to go with the flow. And luckily she just wrote me that ticket, and she told me that I would lose my driver's license essentially, but only in the state of Wisconsin. And oh my God, there's so much more that went on afterwards after that. Cause I was like, I can't not lose my license for the next 6 months. Cause for a while, I thought I was going to lose it in like federally. I thought I was going to lose my license in the entire country, but it turned out it was only Wisconsin that I wasn't allowed to drive in for 6 months, which was like,
who cares?
I don't go to Wisconsin ever, so this was probably best case scenario.
Which is hilarious because I was absolutely hooking behind
You
him.
were right behind me, yeah.
For context, we were in the Hellcat Durango, so out of all the cars in our group, that's the most inconspicuous one. So I don't know why
soccer
she
mom.
picked us out of everyone.
I know.
We were all going the same speed.
I was going triple digit, like
she
well into
couldn't
triples.
see anybody behind me.
The GT500 didn't get picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a freaking wild one. That whole weekend was just an absolute blast, dude. Because it was just like 10 of us just bombing through the northern roads. Like it was just that was a sweet one. So I actually had no co-driver on that one too, because what happened basically is I was like, I thought about riding with Sean, but I was like, oh well, you were looking at something to do or whatever. Like I was like, oh, Derek, hop in with Sean here. And then I was like, I'll find, a co-driver or whatever. I didn't. Spoiler alert. And then I was like, oh, well, Sean's already taken. Fuck it, I'm going solo. And that was my first time, like, rallying in years. Because the only other time I've rallied was that first Land of 10,000 Lakes when I got pulled over in a GTR. That was a blast. So this was just really cool. It was like my own car. I wasn't just borrowing somebody else's car for the first time. So, I mean, I literally hit a bump at about 120 and my windshield wipers came on.
I think you were behind us when you did that. I remember looking behind us and your wipers were going.
Yep, and Chase was with me dying laughing. There was times where I was taking corners so hard at such a high speed that my front right like bumper was scraping, like or whatever. Like, or maybe it was my coilovers just being like, I'm trying to give out. But I think it was like 38 degrees or whatever. It was really cold too.
It was the fall season. All the leaves were changing colors.
Yeah, it was the sometime in October or whatever it was. But yeah, dude, we've had some crazy freaking rallies together in the last 4 years. The three of us. I mean, yeah. So what was it? Venom 2. What was Venom 2? You came to Niagara and Colorado that year, right?
Yep. I've never missed one of yours. So
That's right. Yeah, unlike someone else here. But yeah, that was freaking gnarly. Niagara.
I didn't want to go back to the same destination. You did a repeat rally. I was like, I don't need to go back to Colorado.
First of all, it was a whole new journey. Fuck you. No kidding.
I couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
Pikes Peak is just, I would go again. I would do it a third and fourth time.
Oh yeah, I mean the route that we did take through the Black Hills, and then what was that park that we went through?
It's a good fucking question. I don't know.
That park, the
Badlands.
Badlands
Yeah.
was super cool, and then ending up in Pikes Peak. But I had already done it the previous year, so I was like, I'll take this one off.
Well, you've drank water Ice Mountain like half your life. You still drink it, right?
Yeah.
Rallying is like water, man. You just got to go with the flow.
Yeah, well, 80% of my body is made up of water. It's not made up of rallies.
Yeah, you got 80% attitude today too. No, no, yeah, it's been a blast. So then Whiplash, that was a freaking gnarly one too, because that was the one. So that when I was in Ross's Supra, at some point, so we did a little pullover on the highway, because I didn't want to. I don't use the other word, but basically we pulled off and he's like, hey, you want to drive? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he just slams on his brakes in the middle of the highway and just pulls off on the shoulder. And Sean's just like, he knows the hell of a weekend I've had. And he's like, immediately thinking that we blew a tire. So he's freaking out on the radio. Harris, did you blow a tire? And then like we're just running on the highway, switching seats. And I jump in and I, on the second or third message from Sean, I'm like, yeah, we're just switching seats or whatever. And I'm halfway to 200 at this point, so just ripping it. So allegedly. But yeah, no, it's freaking crazy. So who did you ride with on that one? You were with Carissa again, right?
Yeah,
in the
Carissa,
S2K?
yep.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
S2K.
That's not a rally car.
Wide body, big wing, very low, not a rally car.
Yeah, it's so crazy. She takes these show cars on these long drives.
And she's done with that too. I know we talked about that before. Didn't she rip off her bumper in Nashville too?
She tore out the fender liner, and along with that was some underglow, I believe. So yeah, she didn't have a great time on that one. But she is a legend for taking that and her FRS on rallies.
Yeah, it's freaking.
The amount of miles she puts on that FRS is crazy. Nobody would do that but her.
Yeah, we just had Blake in here for our last episode, and they've put on ridiculous miles on the ACR, and it's just like, oh man, there's something to be said for people that have cars that typically aren't driven, but they do it anyway because they're just either crazy or confident, or I don't know what the word is to describe, passionate, you know. So yeah, she's had a blast on our events, but now you got your own little Z4. I wouldn't say little, but
it's little.
Tell us about that a little.
It's a hell of an upgrade from my previous car.
Yeah.
So I had a CT 200H, which for the majority of the people listening probably don't know, that's a Prius with a Lexus skin.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So it's not quick.
It looks a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I did have it bagged. I did have it on TEs. Yep. So it was a little better than your average Prius, but I needed to get rid of that and get into something a little quicker, something that I could rally in. So I got a Z4, the E89, second gen.
What year is that again?
It's a 2012. I managed to find one in Arizona. It had 14,000 miles when I found it, single owner, so it was perfect. Yeah, and I immediately sent it out, and we got it with full bolt-ons, custom tune, everything. With E30, it's making 440 horsepower and 507 torque. So, I mean, it could be quicker, but it's plenty.
That is a little ripper, that's for sure.
That thing was gnarly. I mean, even when you let me drive it, what was it, last season? Like when you first got it or whatever. First of all, the floor mat was over the pedal. I can't remember which pedal. I didn't realize that.
Gas.
Huh?
It was on the gas pedal.
Yeah, so I was just like, man, this is really weird. And I didn't realize that till after the fact. I was like, Derek, your steering wheel, or not your steering wheel, your car sucks. You know? So I was like, what the hell is going on here? But then it was still a ripper. I mean, I think it was fairly equal to my Golf stock. Yep. Maybe.
I think your Golf was just a little faster.
Yeah.
Not that we raced, but your Golf was a little faster.
Yeah, so that's why I love this little bang for buck car. There's something to be said for bang for buck cars. Like, it's just like throw a little bit of money at it. It's like, yay. But no, that Z4 is a blast. I love that silver. It accentuates the lines perfectly. I mean, hey, Sean.
Hey, Harris.
Do you need a roofer?
I could use a guy.
Well, I'm glad you agree. I saw your roof. You definitely need a roofer. And guess what? I think we know a guy. Do you remember Eric from the podcast like a million episodes ago?
Yeah, of course.
Well, guess what? He is the Twin Cities' finest contractor. All right, he'll get you taken care of because this summer, Minnesota being Minnesota, it's going to throw hail at your roof. It's going to have tornadoes throwing shingles off your roof. You know what? You don't know what's going to end up there. And he's going to get you taken care of because when you Google Solaris Roofing, you're going to see 5 big, beautiful yellow stars, and they're going to be telling you that he does not take no when it comes to perfection. So you're going to reach out to him, either going through Google or you're going to go to solariscos.com. And let me tell you something, Sean. Are you going to reach out to him?
I'm going to reach out to him today.
Well, I'm glad you answered that way because, buddy, you need a new roof.
Yeah, it's a dream to shoot. You know, we hate black cars. I love a white car.
Whoa. We love all colors of cars.
Yeah, true. But as a photographer, a black car hides the lines. Everybody knows photographers hate black wheels.
I don't.
I don't mind them, but I do understand why.
Yeah.
it you can't see any of the lines.
Yeah, I've moved away from black cars. My first, I guess my first real car was a 2009 Saab 97X. It was all black. I didn't really care for it. And then I got in a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee and I blacked it out. And that's like, everybody needs to have like a blacked out, murdered out car at least once in their life, just so that, you know, you can get that out of the way. And then you can like have fun with other colors and do other stuff besides just blacking everything out. So I'm like, I moved away from all the black colored stuff. I like on my 1M I have silver BBS wheels. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, why don't you do black? I don't want black. Like, that's just not gonna look as nice as a classic set of silver wheels.
Yeah, I feel like everybody matures into that point where you realize black isn't everything.
Yeah.
Right, it's an option. There's a time and a place for it. But yeah, there's something to be said for that debate. Now, granted, there's some people that, you know, really are like, I hate black wheels. Easy, big guy. Like, there's a place for them, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's an ongoing raging debate, and I'm very political in that sense, where I don't listen to the opposing side. I'm just a very do what you want kind of person, as long as you're not making my life difficult.
Yeah, in person, black looks great, but we're photographers, so that's pretty. I mean, half the time I'm looking at my car, it's a photo of it, or I'm shooting it, and
you're basically just taking pictures of shadows.
Right.
You got a Sony. What are you bitching about? Just turn up the shadows. Probably still add the highlights.
I could do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I always do black wheels. I'll do silver wheels. I'll do whatever. I like the BBS that Sean has on his 1M though. Those are some of my favorite wheels ever.
They might disappear off your car one day. I really want them.
It would look good on the Z4.
Yeah, they would. The BBSs look good on like most European cars. They're made for European cars. They were especially made for BMW.
Which ones are they that you have?
The LMs.
Yep. So I'm taking those. Those are $5,000 for a set, something like that. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
two piece. So not 3-piece, but you know.
Yours may go missing.
Can you at least leave me a set of wheels?
Yeah, I'll leave you my stocks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's figure something out on that front. I'll be I can't wait to see what you do next to that Z4. I mean, it's pushing decent power. I mean,
so what is planned next? Is it just drive?
For now, I'm at the limit of my clutch.
Okay.
So the next step up is a big chunk of money, and I don't have a big chunk of money. So for now, it's probably just going to be suspension, wheels.
Is it a manual?
Yep.
Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
Because he's an adult.
The N54 with a stick, not the most common combination. Yeah, it's a great car.
And is it convertible too?
Yep. So it's a hardtop.
It's got the hardtop convertible.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so slick looking.
Yeah, I've wanted a 2-door convertible for a long time. Rear-wheel drive, manual. It's exactly what I've been looking for. And not everybody, but a lot of people know I like cars you don't see all the time, which is why I customize a Prius. And this Z4, you might see them in the south, but you really don't see many of them up here in the north. It's not a practical car, and right now it's my only car in Minnesota. I'm retarded. But I'm having fun, so that's what it's about.
The last time I was around a Z4, I think it has to have been that generation. I think it was Crown Rally 2018, where there was the yellow one, the guy that had like a strap and he was hanging out of the car. It was like the taxi or whatever. It was super cool in yellow.
That yellow color is really nice.
Yeah, no, I think BMW does cars really well. I checked out the new M2 in person last week, and it looks great, except there's only one thing that actually. So, in photos, I get it. It doesn't look that hot.
Gosh, what do they do to the taillights on it?
I actually don't mind the taillights. In person,
they're so tiny.
They're too far to the outside. It kind of looks like Sid from Ice Age. They're just too far apart. I love the car. Everybody hates it, but that's the one thing I hate. Those taillights are too far apart.
Taillights don't flow with anything on the car. When you look at a lot of older BMWs, the taillights flow with the body. They're like in the body. These are like extruding out, right?
No, personally, I actually did not mind the rear end in person. I hated it in photos a lot. In person, it was decent. The only issue that I have with that car, like actual issue that makes me fucking fuming, is when you look at the front end, and then there's like that little like gap between like the grills, and it's like this 1 inch that's like punched in, and it just doesn't look right, especially in that Zandvoort blue, which I know who picked that one up. But other than that, I loved sitting in the car. The side profile is pretty decent. I liked that, but yeah, I think red or black would suit that car best.
Yeah, I think a darker color to kind of hide its ugliness.
But that's the sad part, is you shouldn't have to get a car in black to hide the lines just for it to
Looks
look good.
great in red, though.
Yeah.
I am very impressed with the power numbers, though, from factory. 450 horsepower, like,
and it's a 2023 with a manual.
Yeah,
so
that's such an amazing car. And the aftermarket, like, mods, it's gonna be, you know, almost like probably in the 600s. Like, that is for such a small car.
And I was just talking to somebody about this that has a problem with the way it looks, and I'm pretty confident the aftermarket will figure something out to make it look better.
Oh, like the M3s and the M4s.
Yeah.
Like, what's that company called? Like Ardo or something like that? Dude, those things look insane. And then there's that...
is that the GT3 kit?
No, it's just like something for the grill or whatever. So it might be some sort of version of the GT3. I also saw the M3 CS or the Comp or whatever there too. And night and day difference between that and then like the entry level M3.
Yeah, just way more aggressive.
Aggressive, but also just it makes sense. So there's something to be said, and I think that's going to age well. Like, I remember hating the current Supra, the Mark V, when it first came out. I was just like, well, that's stupid.
I don't think I hated the way it looked.
I was
think
disappointed.
What everybody was disappointed in was that it was a BMW drivetrain. It wasn't Toyota showing that they can make a sporty car. They're like, we can borrow a sporty car and put our badge on it.
It makes sense, though. That motor's a great motor. It's just such a good car.
Yeah. And then we always remembered that the 2J was just, you know, it wasn't even like a fully Toyota developed motor, right? Either.
What it has.
Like, you could
Yamaha
argue till the cows
stamp
come
on
home. Yeah, it's freaking...
Well, that's not uncommon. The Viper was designed by McLaren. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, not the current, or Gen 5, I should say, had some help from McLaren in designing in their V10s. Like, they get help. All these car manufacturers get help from other manufacturers.
It's not an uncommon thing, but the Supra's the only car that gets flack for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who else gets flack for it? I mean, the other thing is, like, you know, Lotuses, don't they rock a Toyota motor, too?
Yep.
Yeah, and those things are... Nobody complains about that. It's freaking awesome. Like, the Lotuses...
Isn't Lexus supposed to be an up badge Toyota anyways?
There's that, too, yeah. Well, I said Lotus.
Yeah.
Lotus.
Not Lexus.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, yep. So it's just... I don't know. I think collaboration is great. It's so much better than having these silos of development where basically everybody just kind of hates each other.
No, we wouldn't have any cool cars because all these car manufacturers would be too cheap to like actually make something cool. They can only do it if they collaborate.
There's that. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Actually, I was going to disagree, but after thinking about it, that's a good point. Because
You're going to disagree with me after making my point in less than a second.
Well, no, I wouldn't say they're necessarily cheap, but at the same time, like if they're working by themselves, then yeah, maybe they don't want to do development. But at the same time, from a competitive nature, especially like let's say early on, like Ferrari versus Lamborghini or whatever, those guys were throwing everything they had to beat the shit out of each other. You know, so there's that aspect too. If it's
Okay, well, Ferrari had like a tiny budget. Ford basically just brute forced their way into the Le Mans win.
No, I said Lamborghini, not Ford.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, I am not
You're not
hearing
listening
very
to
well
that.
right now.
But either way, like my point being, it's like when you have those silos of no collaboration, if people hate each other enough to beat each other and try to be the best, then there will be some crazy development. But now we're kind of in this world of the bottom dollar, so now it makes sense to kind of collaborate, you know, like BMW and Toyota, I feel. So it's like, to your point, you're correct, but then sometimes it works the other way too. So it really depends on if people hate each other.
I don't think, but people don't hate money. Everyone loves money.
Well, I don't know, man. Some people love winning more than money. We saw that with Ford.
I mean, Harris doesn't like money. We saw what happened with the rally.
Just take my money.
Yeah, when I did my taxes, I was able to write off a sizable amount, but yeah.
Losses a lot.
That's what my filing to the IRS said. LOL. Yeah. Yeah, no, when I was going through my numbers, I was like, God damn, that was a good rally. I full sent it. You know what's the fucked up is like, thank God for the rain that we didn't end up doing that go-karting event, because that would have been another $5,000. So I was just like, oh man, like even though
sweet refund.
huh?
The refund.
Yeah, so yeah, but it would have at the same time it would have been amazing to go kart on that rally. It would have been nice and competitive. But people were disappointed. But I was like, guys, listen. As much as I act like it, I can't actually be God here. Like I can't turn off the rain. And it's like a 3-hour period to dry off, is what they said. If you're lucky.
It's that one rally. Which one was it that we actually got to go karting? Was
Venom
that
2?
Venom 2
or Niagara?
It's so much fun. Going into it, I didn't think, we're on a freaking rally. We're in high horsepower cars driving them like go-karts on the street. And then you get to this go-kart track, and that's the best part of the event.
That was the best part of the event for sure. That was a 0.8 mile track in Pennsylvania, and it was Le Mans style.
Yeah, really love that.
A couple people dressed up in Mario costumes, and it was great. That was so much fun. Of course, I was on the winning team too, so that helped.
Your team cheated, by the way.
How did we cheat?
When you come into the pit lane, you're supposed to come in at a reasonable, I think, was it 5 miles or 10 miles an hour?
I don't have a speedometer. I don't know how fast I'm going.
You're supposed to slow down. Not when you hit the brakes, you slide for a good 20 feet. I
don't know what to say.
My team got second place. This is the only reason why I'm complaining. We would have won otherwise.
I don't know. I didn't see anybody going slow through those pits.
Well, nobody had to brake slide through the pits either, besides your team.
I don't know if I did that, but yeah, maybe
No,
somebody
that
in my
was
team.
my former business partner.
Oh,
yeah, he slid.
That makes sense.
He slid a
If
lot.
anybody was going to do it, that's who would do it.
Yeah, those days were a blast, dude. Like, oh my god, it was freaking nuts. Nobody does Le Mans go-karting around here. I really want to see if I could set
Stockholm?
something. I want to talk to them, see if we could actually set something up. The problem is running them for an hour, because 15 minutes back to back to back to back, and then there's the just the safety aspect of people getting in and out of their cars while the cars are hot, or the track is hot.
Yeah, because they don't actually have like a pit lane there. The pit lane is like up a hill.
Right, so you don't want to be racing up the hill and around that corner. So, but if there was a way to set up like a pit lane on the side over there,
I doubt it.
it'd be a different story. But then that's like an investment on their end, and it's like, why spend money that they don't need to?
They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, unless I came there as an investor, I'm like, I got 3 coupons for 2 Cub Foods. Let's go. Like, but
We'll have to go back to Pennsylvania then.
that was an amazing track, and the layout and the elevation change was pretty awesome too there.
Yeah.
Was that's that track where as you drive up to it, you'd have no idea there's a track there, right?
Yeah, because they also had like autocross. They had what did they have? They had like a full-on racetrack there too.
It was a very large facility in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and a golf or go-kart track just to top it off, just in case, neither of those things were for you.
Yeah, that was a cool place.
I can't wait. So, okay, so let's build the perfect rally. If I were to do this again, let's say in 2025, all right, let's assume we're not all nuked. What's the perfect event look like in your guys' eyes?
I mean, if distance doesn't play a part and we can just go anywhere, Pikes Peak again,
Jeez.
a third time.
Maybe you should just drive out there yourself.
I will.
We'll drive there without you, Sean.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
I'm not going to Pikes Peak. I'd go down to maybe Texas or to the desert. I'd go down to the Salt Flats or something.
Yeah, we're building the perfect rally so we can do both. It's a possibility. When we were in Atlanta, I really wanted to have our dinner at the Porsche Experience Center. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, we drove right by that. That was so cool.
It would have been cool. I think I may have looked into it at some point. I think
Pricey.
Well, here's the problem: is people don't know what they want until they have it. So that's the problem with rallies. Is like you're trying to sell this grand vision, and if the ticket is a 4-digit figure, for example, South was $24.50. It's hard to justify another $200 or $300 already on top of that, or whatever the case may be. It's tough because unless you, especially for like people who haven't rallied before, like for example, the Crown Rally guys, they hit me up, like not the owners, but some ralliers rather. They hit me up. They wanted to finance a rally for me and take on the brunt of the financial burden because like I was the only other person that was qualified to run a pretty kick-ass event, up here in the Midwest, outside of a few people that already have their own events. But my point being, it's like when they don't mind that they're used to the 4 digits. If you're spending 3, 4, 5,000 on Crown already, it's not a big jump to do 3,000 on a 3-day event if I were to do it. But I was in that market of trying to get people like Sean or like for example Chaz or whatever, people who had those sub $100,000 cars that had a blast and modified them and all that, and they're just ready to have a good time. So that's the tricky part when you start doing extra things like the Porsche Experience Center.
I mean, I'm looking at it from a perspective of budget not being a thing because we're building the perfect rally. And especially since I've been on all these rallies and I've never paid for one.
I don't, volunteer life.
Yeah, I don't have the same perspective.
Right. And I think if we're building the perfect rally, that will be in there for sure. The Porsche Experience Center, like, I don't know if you saw Emily's story last week or whatever. Like they have the little butter sticks that are shaped like Porsches.
Yeah, they go above and beyond at that place, but it's expensive.
So we have a rough locations. Like,
okay, then the next thing would be challenges. Doing some sort of time aspect between like the drives between point A and point B, and then having challenges set between point A and point B so that you're not just like go go go. You're forced to, not forced, but if you're competitive, which everybody is on these, you're going to stop and you're going to get points.
I think so. I think there's an aspect to be said for points, and I think, especially since we just talked to Blake, running the perfect rally would be so much easier with his platform because then you're able to calculate points and all this stuff. Like, for example, one of the things that he mentioned when he was in here was if you are within a certain radius of the media car, which is tracked via GPS, and you have a GPS, if you're, within an eighth of a mile or whatever, you get 10 XP points for being near a media car. Like I mean, as a photographer, would you find that cool?
Yeah, that's one of the big problems with being media on a rally.
A lot of people just blow right by you.
Yeah, not everybody cares about photos, and I don't blame them for
that. That was different for me for the last rally because I really wanted to get photos. I wanted photos. I wanted to remember the experience, and there were people that just that won't care, that just want to get ahead everybody else. So I was happy to stay back, stay with the media car, get video rollers, get photo rollers, just kind of I want that.
We got some cool shots of your 1M too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm going through a lot of the video from last year too, and there's some people that just weren't on camera like at all, or the footage just sucked because they were like so far away.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to like you lose that media car and you're are they behind me, are they in front of me, like how do I, so like you got to take advantage of that, like, oh, the media car's right there, I'm gonna stick with them for like the next like 20 minutes and get some photos.
What racetrack?
I mean, I'm not nearly as familiar with tracks as you might be. I think Atlanta Motorsports Park was sick. That was so good.
Thought it was really nice. I would do like the Las Vegas Speed.
Yep.
If they have, public cars or other people's cars and not just their own. Otherwise, just I don't know if you could do like a group rental from them and everybody gets to drive a McLaren, Porsche, Mercedes, like something exotic.
That actually would be really cool. Yeah, that's some sort of group buy to go on a rental, as long as it's not under my fucking name.
Yeah, talk about adding cost to a rally, though. That's got to be expensive. But
I'm sure they give a discounted rate or
for a big group, a big birthday party. Oh my god! Yeah. Imagine if we were all billionaires. Well, no, they're not billionaires because then I would just own the place. Millionaires, right? And we all went on like a, I don't know, bachelor party out to Vegas. Got 50 guys, just rented out that track and just bombed through with like Lamborghinis and GTRs or whatever. Oh boy.
Yeah, die happy.
That's what I'll do. That's going to be my my bachelor party. I'm going to run a rally.
Oh, that'd actually be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I'll shoot it.
Yeah, well, let's stop being... Yeah, you'll shoot it. Yeah, let's stop being single first, I suppose. And but yeah, that's the thing. Like bachelor party, rally time. All right, cool. We got a date. 2025 or 55.
Yeah, it's a way to have a what do they call it? When you get married away from home, destination wedding. That'd be a great way of doing it.
Drive
cool.
to the destination.
Yeah, that'd be such a good way of doing a destination wedding.
Dude, that'd be such a gnarly movie too. Like things going wrong, wrapping your car around a tree, tire blowing out or whatever. It's like you still get to the wedding, but you're just like dirty and disgusting.
Is that not Hangover?
That's what, did they rally?
Well, at the end of the movie, they have to drive to the wedding.
Yeah, so something like that, except lots of people, lots
like
of cars.
all of that happens, like the car breaks down, all that good stuff. And it's like the father-in-law's really nice Mustang that they wreck. It's been a while since I've seen this movie.
Yeah, it's been a
and
long
I can tell
time.
by your
It's been a
guys' silence that you also have not seen any of the movies.
I've seen the first two, but it's been a long time.
Somebody's
what
in
even
their
is
car.
the third movie about?
I don't know.
Somebody's just in their car listening to this right now.
3 times in a row.
Just freaking gnarly. But somebody's definitely just driving in their car right now on their way to work, just thinking like, fuck, I haven't seen that movie either in forever. All right, so destination wedding. So we got that part of the rally.
Okay. And then the rally needs to have a social aspect to it as well. Maybe not during the driving part of it, but it shouldn't only be about driving. It should also be about the ralliers themselves. So having, the dinners afterwards, that's nice. I think also getting everybody together, maybe like in the same room, or to like a bar where we can all mingle.
I got a challenge for you. All right, let's just say that there isn't a huge, there's a decent sized budget to this. How about this? One of the challenges for the rally? Beat Bobby Flay.
What is it?
We're not cook against Bobby Flay. That's what you beat Bobby Flay, you get 1,000 points towards a trophy.
I don't want to cook.
Who decides? The other ralliers? We
I don't
all
know
vote?
I haven't seen the show in years, dude. Oh my god, you know how freaking just like a battle versus celebrity chefs. I don't know. It'd make for a good TV show. Just a bunch of dorks show up in their cars.
I guess.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
watching that.
Yeah, I don't know if that one would work so well at a rally.
Okay, fine, stupid idea, whatever. I give up.
Hey, I mean, that's just what this is for. We're spitballing, we're bouncing ideas off each other, and we're smacking them down and telling you no.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes someone needs to tell Harris no once in a while.
Oh boy, everybody, all the people I hit up for tickets last year. No, one of the ideas I had, I think I don't know if I've disclosed this to the public yet, but one of my things that I wanted to do with Whiplash, again, this is like a 2025 thing because the vision was so big. What I wanted to do was the ongoing rally, meaning the whole country, so all 50 states, but you could just jump on for a day or two. You could do 10 days. For example, like Gold Rush, you could do both legs. So you could do, I think it's like 10 days or whatever, or you could do 2 legs of 5. In this instance, if we wanted to do a travel the country type rally, like let's say, Sean, you start in Minnesota, we go all the way to Chicago, and you're like, all right, I'm done with this rally, I'm done. But then, Derek, you started in Wisconsin for whatever reason, and you rally with Sean for a state or two, and then it's on to the next one. This would be such an absurd thing to pull off, but unlimited budget, I absolutely fucking would do it.
Okay, well, there you go.
If I get to Adam LZ size, like if I get rich enough to have my own compound, or like DDE size, this is 100% an event I'm putting on.
Yeah, you would need full-time staff to help plan and coordinate everything.
100%, and that's where can I see your resume?
You'd have to take off an entire month of your life just to complete this.
Correct, and this would be an instance of where I would be retired. Like I wouldn't be able to do this with a day job.
All right, well, I'll see you in 2055. Yeah, when you're retired, about to get married. This is your bachelor rally.
Dude, I would, if this is in 2055 when I'm 55, I am 1,000% having a heart attack.
You don't have very much confidence that he'll get married before then either.
That's his own words.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, what are your thoughts? Would that be a cool idea? I mean, just like do like the East Coast, like New York down to Florida or something, then back up and then just kind of like do like it'll look like a tic-tac-toe board, honestly.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I don't have the time for that.
You don't have to do the whole thing, just do a couple states.
Then I might as well just do a normal rally.
No,
because well, you're spreading yourself so thin across the entire United States versus just one concentrated area between like here and Chicago. Like you're able to put a lot more into this little section than across 50 states.
But keep this in mind, you would have people from all these other states joining in too, right? So you have 50 start points and 50 end points too. And at any given point, it's like a spider web. You could just take whatever bit. Again, this is the craziest idea.
The logistical nightmare of it all.
No. It's not a logistical nightmare. It's a money nightmare. This has to be something for somebody who wants to lose a lot of fucking money to do. Because, like, you would also have track events and, you'd host festivals in all these different states. So, like, let's say over the course of those 50 states, and you take 2 weeks to do it, you would have 4 track days or 10 track days or whatever in different states. So you could choose whatever you want. The car meets at these festivals would fund it, the vendors, the food, and all that. Again, I've thought this through very sober. No, and I by the way, if this is the crazy idea as I get sober, imagine me high. But this is like the ultimate rally.
The way that I imagine you high is that you just shut the fuck up.
That's true, actually. About half the time, yeah. So
it's a crazy idea, but I think you could probably figure it out.
If anybody can do it, it's you.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the number in my head is I would probably need 750,000, and then half of that would probably have to come from ralliers and sponsors. And at this point, the sponsors for that would have to be like all in, like, because for example, like people have sponsored huge events that go across the country, like fucking like triathlons or whatever, stuff like that. Like just for example, David Goggins, like he did this, I can't remember how long the trek was, but it was like well over 1,000 miles biking. And he did that to raise money for, special operations teams that, that basically died and all that for their families. So it's like people want to sponsor something that crazy. Like imagine the crowd or like the donation or the charity aspect of this rally would be is somebody donates, I don't know, 10 cents a mile that you do. So Sean, if you do 10,000 miles, somebody's going to donate, $1,000 or whatever, or something like that.
I also think another way of making it work, this would be so good as an Amazon series.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
That's not something anybody gets to see. Just the regular people, the regular NPCs out there in the world, they don't even know rallies exist.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another thing that would make this work is I wouldn't run this in the typical all-inclusive cost aspect of the rally. That's one of the things that burned me on Whiplash because I didn't have that critical mass of buyers or ticket users. In this instance, I would basically get group rates all across the country. Let's say I partner with a hotel, for example. Like, let's reach out to Marriott. Hey, I want to book hotels in 50 fucking states. Can we do it? Or something like that. And it'll be a group rate for all those people and everything. So you could book in advance. And then if you have to pull out, cool, that's your fee, not mine.
Mm.
So that's another way that I would make it work. Again, that's where I'm thinking it's going to be mid 6 figures to make it work.
At least, yeah. It sounds like a crazy idea.
It's the craziest idea that anybody's ever heard on this podcast. And I've been keeping it on the down low for 2 years because I've been thinking about this since...
Yeah, you don't want to sound like a crazy person.
I sound like a total fucking crackpot right now. But again, if anybody can make it work, I think it's me. And if I can get the right sponsors and the people behind it, when I'm retired and I have enough of a following by then, I think it would be the craziest event that this country has ever seen.
Quite possibly.
Call up Golden Peaks. We'll get it on Amazon.
Oh my God, billing those fuckers would be, or they would bill me. I can't remember. I think their day rate's about I would spend about 100,000 to 150,000 just to have them there for the entirety of the event.
Just get Amazon to sponsor you.
That's what I'm saying.
If somebody takes this idea, let me be a part of it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you should probably trademark this right now just because someone is listening and they're like, you know what, this guy's onto something.
Well, he's on something is probably a better...
It seriously would be such an entertaining series to watch, though. It really would.
Every single episode. Here's our 10 new ralliers. These dickheads left, 2 states ago because they're like, oh, I'm tired or whatever.
You could make it like a Survivor thing or you get voted off the rally.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that would be freaking nuts. But then it'd be so lonely at the end with like 2 ralliers
We
left.
take in new ones as we get into new states, but then the slowest person, or the points loser, not the slowest because it's not a race, it's a rally. The points loser gets voted off the island. They go home, and we take in someone else.
It would be so nuts though, like if you do that. And there's so many different trophies you could do. Most states, most miles, most raised. Because that's how the fundraiser would work in my head. And by the way, that idea is a today idea. I didn't think of that one before. But like again, if you could get people across the country to be like, yeah, Sean's gonna go the farthest. We're gonna have DraftKings sponsor this bitch. Like
It's an interesting idea. I don't see this happening, but it's a cool idea to.
you just had to say that, didn't you? See, now it has to happen.
I hope it does.
If anybody hears this, and if this is like years down the line, if somebody hears this podcast and just by chance stumbles upon it, if you have $500,000 to give me and, you know, put me out of a job, I think it's game time. Because I genuinely believe, especially if I were to... Okay, how long would it take to go all 50 states, realistically?
It's probably like 30 days.
30 days, you think?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people who do like RV campers, they generally take about 30 days to do all 50 states.
So I'm almost thinking 4 large festivals, right? Like each weekend would be like a large like checkpoint festival. You know, we could stay in the same state for a day or two, you know, kind of recoup a little bit, and then back to the road onto the next, you know, region. So we go Midwest, Upper East, or whatever.
That's one thing rallies are missing is you gotta take some time to slow down. We're always going, you know, wake up early in the morning, leave, launch at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., and you're not to your destination until 9 p.m. and you go to bed. Or not, I go to bed. Everybody else parties until 2 a.m. and then
Gets up at 7
Yeah.
a.m.
the one of the best aspects of rallies is the time when you're not driving, when you're just hanging out with everybody. Driving's a blast,
The
but
social aspect.
In my head, the only real concern I have is it getting shut down by the authorities like the first or second week in. Because if this is going to be such a highly documented and televised or whatever event, you know, whatever, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this. And especially given recent events in the rally world, it's going to be paid attention to heavily. So then there's that next aspect. This is where Blake could come in with his trackers and all that stuff too, is keeping it like, hey guys, let's not do $140 across America.
yeah, it can be kept under the radar until
There's
it's
no way.
done, though.
Yeah, there's no for the course of rallying for 30 days across the country. Like maybe you could get lucky, but if this was like heavily advertised in festivals in
Yeah.
every city and all that, like if you really wanted to make it big, it would be. And that's the logistical nightmare that I'm scared of, and that's where I would be calling every precinct across the country, like, hey, you know, people would do rips in between, of course, you know, like, you know, their pulls, but the overall average speed would still have to somehow be kept below 120. Anything after that, that's when it starts getting really sketchy in my head. But yeah. Sean's thinking about it. He's like, oh my God, this guy is a fail at life.
You're either going to become a success off this or it's going to literally ruin you.
It would financially ruin me, and I will be taking a jump off of Caesar's Palace with a bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand, and I don't know.
You're going to Google the closest, tallest bridge.
Yeah, well, that'll be the one of checkpoints. Watch Harris take himself out at a checkpoint.
Yeah,
No,
if you do it, just I want to be there for it.
Well, for a small portion of it, probably.
I mean,
Beginning and end of the month.
if it's got that big of a budget, you can pay me for once.
This is one of those. Imagine trying to get work off for 30 days.
Yeah, I'll just quit my job.
Oh my God! Imagine how many photos. Like I did 5,500 photos on Crown Rally in 2018. Like that I had to, you know, go through and edit. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, dude.
When I first started shooting, I'd go to BIR and, you know, you'd go for a weekend and you'd go home with 10,000 photos. I've since learned that that's not the way to do it, but
Yeah, you get a little more selective and better and just timing and all that. Because like that's one of the things for photographers is quantity is really important early on, and it always will be. Always take extra.
Well, with rollers, even now that I've been doing it for 5 years, it's still only, 1 out of 10 shots is actually a keeper, so if not worse. It's just how it is.
it's interesting. Yeah. Now you guys got me all hyped up for rallies again. It's gonna be a long time before I host one again. But if I could get the backing up front, like contracts and all that shit up front too, and then like, hey, here's the budget, go to town, big guy, then I'll make it work. But yeah, man, that might be something to start planning right now.
To anyone listening, Harris does a great rally. It would be worth it. Maybe.
Nice asterisk, asshole.
No guarantees.
No, honestly, the only thing that killed me on Whiplash from being great to the best rally ever, and to some people it was for sure, but like I had people that do Crown Rally regularly. They're like, wow, like these aspects were better, these were worse, but the fact that they said some aspects were better, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That said, though, it would be nuts, and I would have to have everything. All the pieces would have to be just right to go full send. And again, this is just a young boy's dream. But yeah.
It's better than never pursuing your dreams.
I'm just saying, like, that would be the greatest way to honor me if I were to get hit by a bus after this podcast.
Well, we can arrange that.
Somebody's gonna fund that, but the logistical nightmare that comes with that is it'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm crazy enough to think it'll be fun. But
I mean, you'd have that story for the rest of your life, along with the debt for the rest of your life. But
well, it's either run a rally or gender studies, right?
Well,
I'm glad that we turned this into a rally podcast. I think it just made sense given the adventures the three of us have had together over the years. Mm-hmm. Turned into me ranting.
Yeah, where'd that come from? We were talking about, what's our perfect rally? That's right. And then you just kind of took over. I actually already know what the perfect rally is.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You do know.
It would be crazy. And it would be one of the craziest. It would be the Fire Festival. Jeez. Sorry, no refunds, guys. Here's some what's it called? Government cheese.
Yeah, plain bread with cheese.
That guy's back, by the way. He's out of jail now, and he's planning another Fire Festival already.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're letting him.
Incredible.
It's not like part of his probation.
Unbelievable. Oh man, so we touched a little bit on photography, a little bit on the rally aspect of us doing what's the next year or two look like for you, Derek?
Who knows? I don't know. Last year was a rough one. Kind of fell off the radar a lot, so I'm just trying to build that back up, trying to see if I can get some shoots scheduled. It's just been rough though.
Is there like a bucket list of cars that you're trying to get done?
Not especially. No.
You already checked off a lot of those boxes, or you just don't really care what you shoot? Like you'd shoot just about anything. Is there anything that you're looking forward to doing? Like maybe you're wanting to try something new?
I mean, I'd love to be able to travel and shoot.
Oh.
So we took a couple trips last year, one to Las Vegas, where I was actually able to shoot locally there, and just actually to change gears a little bit on one of the Venoms going to Colorado. I just got on Instagram and started messaging 2 people, try to see if anybody locally would shoot, and I got 2 people to meet up with me, pick me up from the hotel. Never met them ever in my life. They pick me up. We drive an hour north to Boulder, and we shoot in the most beautiful location ever. Just doing more like that. Funding the trip with photo shoots.
That's the dream.
It'd be great. I was able to do that again when we went to Vegas just on vacation, met up with the Las Vegas Civic Type R group and went out to went out to Red Rock and shot with them. That turned out great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds awesome. Yeah, so you basically just book a plane ticket to wherever you feel like going, and then you get on Instagram, you look up like local car pages, and then just find people. You just message them, "Hey, I'm a photographer. Let's
Yep.
do a photo shoot." Like, and then you said out of 12 people, like 2 people said yes. So like 1 out of 6 people are gonna say yes to you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you fund your vacations essentially.
Yeah,
And that seems like a great way to get a lot of like photos in your portfolio. Like, here's like all these different locations, and then people spread the word.
Yeah, it gets you exposure in areas that you aren't seen in as well. I got a lot of followers from Colorado when
Nice.
I shot those
Yep.
their stanced Lexuses out
Yeah,
in the mountains.
you get a lot of followers from Texas.
I got a decent amount from Colorado. Yeah, I don't know. My distribution's a little weird now. Ever since I kind of like blew up, it's just like all over the place now. But before that, like, yeah, I had a decent amount from Colorado. But in the ideal world, I would do what you did. Is like, especially if I worked for like Delta or something, dude. Like, I would be flying every weekend somewhere to be a photographer. Just grow my brand. Go to these car shows and just meet different people. Especially if you're good at networking. Just even walking up to people and saying, "Hey, cool car. What's it done to it?" People really underestimate how easy it is to have those conversations.
Car
If you're-
people just want to talk about their cars. It's so easy.
To a degree, though, because sometimes it comes off forceful. Like, I freaking hate when people walk up, "Oh, man, you should really take me for a ride along, bro." It's like you're intruding on this person's space that you just met. So there's a give and a take there,
Okay, I said talk about their cars. I didn't say give them a ride.
right? But there's a lot of people also that they can only repeat the same 5 answers so many times before they're just like, "All right, I'm walking away from my car." Like, I know a lot of people like that.
Some people just need to print out a build sheet and then just like hand it out,
Or
like,
a
"Here you
QR
go,
code,
here you
like
go."
Blake mentioned.
Or yep, can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope he really launches that this season. It's you'll hear it in episode 16 if you haven't listened to it yet. You'll love it, Derek.
The one you just recorded 15 minutes ago, if I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, you'll listen to it later this week. So yeah, our goal with these double headers, which we do hope to do more frequently at car shows, is do 2, upload 1 on Monday and then 1 on Thursday. We're gonna try Thursday to see what happens there. And then the following week would just be like a normal single or whatever. Like, so these are the more intensive ones for us.
This is intense for me. You can talk for hours. I get tired after about an hour and a half.
Yes, we're going to figure out somehow to get Sean the longevity to last.
I'm gonna need 2 Jocos.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, we forgot to give you an energy drink.
What
You can
the
grab
hell?
one. You want to grab a Jocko?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, we're going to talk amongst ourselves while he cracks open Tropic Thunder. I'm going to really try to become an ambassador for Jocko because I really do love their products, and they do have a great ambassador program. So I'll let you guys know what happens on that end. But oh, that was a nice spike. Give it a sip. Let's see. What do you think? Tropic
Sponsored by
Thunder.
Jocko. Are you sponsored?
No.
Oh, not sponsored. By
I'd like to
Jocko.
be
But we
sponsored.
highly recommend them.
No, I use a lot of their products because it's super clean. And I know this is turning into a little bit of a sponsor segment, but it really isn't because I actually just genuinely love the products. And I love the names like Tropic Thunder, like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. going full, yeah, anyways. But yeah, okay, so a little bit of traveling, a little bit of everything. I mean, is there anything in particular you want to talk about before we wrap up for today? Or should we wrap up with our final triple header question?
The triple header, double header. What is up with the headers?
I just like talking about head, man.
All right, so we got this question. You got to pick 3 cars, and one of them is going to be your daily, one of them is going to be your show car, one of them is going to be your track car. What are these cars?
So I knew this question was coming because I've listened to every episode already.
Have you listened
right.
to every episode we've done?
I think Spotify skipped a couple for me.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and listen to them, but it's such a hard question.
It is. It's so unique and different that from what everybody has to say, because it really it shows off your personality as a car enthusiast and kind of like where your head space is at.
Yeah, and I think this is true for everybody. It changes every day.
True.
And I was just talking to Tam about this outside. We were walking, and I was like, I turned into a Euro guy overnight. I was JDM all the way last
That's
year.
right.
And now I'm Euro 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a hard question. I think the hardest one is the daily.
Yes.
It could be anything. It doesn't matter if it's practical. If this is a money's unlimited sort of situation, I think it should be practical though. That's what makes it
Practical-ish.
Yeah. So for a race car, I've really been loving the Porsche 935. It's insane.
Ooh.
And I would love that car. Yeah, that's just the ultimate track car
Okay.
in my mind. There's so many out there, but I fell in love with that car. You know, it's based on a GT2 RS. Yeah, just look up a YouTube video if you don't know what it is. It's crazy. Show car, that's another hard one, but I would really like a 300 SL going.
Oh, very nice.
That'd be so sick.
classy.
I love it.
I can see it.
A lot of money, but that's
Unlimited.
not what it's about. And then yeah, the daily's really hard, but you know, M3 CS wagon
Oh. Ooh.
because it needs to be a wagon.
We're never gonna get the wagon though.
This isn't a question of
unlimited
is
money.
it in
You can
America?
get
Yeah, you can get it. You didn't say it had to be legal.
He didn't say it has to stay in this country.
That too.
Yeah, he's moving to fucking Germany.
It's a really hard question to answer though. That one, that could change a dozen times in a day.
it. Yeah.
In the next 20 minutes, you'll be like, oh.
Yeah, I'll walk around outside and I'll see something else. But it's a really practical car.
What we should do, this would be a cool idea. I should start putting together a spreadsheet or a portion on the Monoxide website where we keep track of this. That'd be actually really cool. I might start putting that together at some point as a project. It probably won't be anytime soon. We got so many other things to work on, but I do want to eventually have a notes section on the website with stuff like this and topics and whatever. It's gonna keep getting bigger, man. And like the two of us in this crazy little world of photography and being an influencer, and Sean finally starting to do a little bit of that too. I think who knows what the next few years brings for us, and maybe we do have those 3 cars.
I don't know about that. The
Powerball.
935, there's only like 70 made, so that might not be something I can get my hands on, but
Legally or illegally, that's a later problem.
true. I could make
What-
one disappear like your wheels.
Well, perfect. Well, guys, as always, before we wrap up here, I do appreciate everybody that's supporting us. It's really cool to walk up to like Teacup the other day for the meet and a guy being like, oh, like didn't even really know who I was like by my face or whatever. But once he started talking, he's like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. So thank you to all the support of everybody who's been out there and that's been supporting our guests and Sean and basically this whole crazy dream of ours. But other than that, Derek, thank you very much for coming on. I think wasn't so bad, right?
No, if we didn't have the rallies to talk about, we'd have nothing.
If we didn't have his rally that he's been cooking up for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's my first time talking about it in public because I just wanted to keep it under wraps. But honestly, if somebody does it, just involve me in some aspect. But I don't
Right.
think anybody's crazy enough to do it that has the budget.
No, absolutely
Amazon,
not.
if you're listening.
You're gonna have to prove yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a later problem. But nonetheless, man, thank you. I've been wanting to have you on this podcast forever. I think you're a great fella, stand-up fella in the community here. You've built a hell of a brand for yourself. So I'm excited to see what you put out this season. You bastard should be getting photo shoots with Derek
Yes.
immediately.
Book me.
Yeah, where can anybody find you?
Nightfall Visuals on Instagram and Facebook. I am not on TikTok.
All right, that's totally fine. In our last episode, we talked about it. Our guest won't even let his daughter have TikTok.
For
So-
reasonable reasons.
Well, you got to listen to the episode and find out why.
Yeah. People can find Sean at 1MN Mopar, pretty much Instagram, right?
Yeah, just Instagram.
For now.
I really haven't reached out to any other platforms right for the moment. But you can find Harris at Monoxide on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and that's is there anything else that I'm missing?
There's something somewhere. Just Google. I don't know. You're here. You've heard me talk. You're probably following me somewhere. But yeah,
Find them on monoxide.com as well. And I think you also have a code to give us.
that's right. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, Derek, are you going to join us on a community rally this year?
I'm planning on it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you saw that we're going to Road America for that as well now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really happy that Balto changed up some of the. He was our guest on episode 15. he basically talked about some of the plans for Community and the rally and all that fun stuff. So yeah, if you do want to rally with us and rally like a motherfucker, may I say, use code Monoxide and you'll save $100. So yeah, let's rally, y'all.
Let's do it.
Other than that, see you next time.
See you guys.
See ya.